All right. So that's pretty much an example of what happens with an HOA in regards to potential fines that they can give. And a lot of times they don't charge money for it. It's just a notice. All right. So what are some of the cons of an HOA neighborhood? So one, it's an extra expense on top of your mortgage. So let's say your mortgage is $1,300 a month and your monthly HOA is $50. When the lender goes and pre-qualifies the house, they're going to pre-qualify you for 1350, but your monthly mortgage is only going to be 1300 that you have to pay to the bank. It's your responsibility to pay the other $50 on your own. So if you do not make those payments, typically they're monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, or annual. So you want to get and find out from your realtor or from the builder how those HOAs are paid. And also when you close on the house, find out when they are paid up until. I have seen instances where it was only paid until the end of that month. The next month it was due, and the buyer thought they had a longer period of time to pay for it. It wasn't me, by the way. I thoroughly explained that, and I make sure I let my buyers know ahead of time. But I've heard of examples of people that didn't know, and when I pulled up their statements, their Alta statements, it specifically told them, hey, you only had until this time. But, when you're at closing, you're just busy rushing through everything. You definitely don't want to lean against your property right after you purchase it. All right, so HOAs are able to assess fees, and they're able to take legal action against you. I kind of just said it, but they can put a lien on your house and start charging you money. And normally that's because you're not maintaining your property to the standards of the community, or you're breaking one of the covenant bylaws. And so those violations typically stay on the property until they're corrected, or unless you're selling. So for instance, both myself and a client of mine, we had houses, we were trying to sell them, and they have to get permission to sell your house from the HOA, which normally it's not a big deal, but all they do is ask the HOA if there's any infractions on the on the property. If there are, you either have to clear those infractions and the HOA has to verify that they've been cleared, or you have to get an understanding and an addendum made with the buyer of your property, letting them know, like, hey, these are on here and that they're still accepting the property even with those violations. Um, and also, if there's a lien on the property, the lien has to be paid off first. I personally had a lien on my property also. I like HOAs, but yes, they can put liens on your property. It was a mistake that was made with mine. There was a change of management company, and they didn't tell me, and they didn't get paid. So I was a little bit younger, and I was like, oh well, forget you. I'm not gonna pay it. And a $700 HOA bill turned into $3,000, and when I sold my house, I lost $3,000 worth of profit. So it's very important that you make sure you pay your HOAs. All right, so fees can increase. That's the best one, right? That's what everybody thinks. Oh, my HOA fees, they're going to go up. Normally, this is due to an unforeseen circumstance. I kind of alluded to it, but let's say you do have a hurricane that occurs and your roof comes off. Well, that was an unforeseen circumstance. If the HOA board of directors did not plan for it, then guess what? They're going to have to charge more money for that. A good HOA board, however, will have plans in place for such things as this. Okay? So, they should have some sort of budget for this. And something else that also isn't discussed is that HOA fees can go down. I know mine did. I saved myself 50 cents a month now, right? But they can go down. Let me kind of give you an example, right? There is a neighborhood around where I'm at. Most HOAs will have this. They have a financial statement that's available. Some post it publicly, but some post it only for their members when you log in. And you may just have to request a copy from your management company. But every HOA is different. But it kind of breaks this all down. If you can see here, right, this is for a neighborhood around my area. Very nice neighborhood, Meadow Point. I love that neighborhood. And so You look at it, right? It has utilities, and it tells you. You know, you can actually see, look, from 2016 to 2017 it went down, and for 2018 it went down. But guess what they're doing? They're budgeting for a little bit more. So it'll tell you, right? You have this breakdown here. So some HOAs are very good about being transparent with what they're doing. All right. So let's see. Is an HOA right for you? It probably is not if you want to have some animals, right? Let's say you want to have some horses, some chickens, some pigs. Most HOAs, I have seen some HOAs that do allow for horses, but not things like goats or chicken or sheep. But you know that's varied depending on every HOA. But typically, if you're looking for a house and not a ranch style house that's in an HOA, if you're looking for just a single family residence, typically they do not allow the farm animals. And even they may have some restrictions as far as the number of dogs you have or even the size of the dogs. So your large breed dogs you may not be able to have. Again, that's not all of them. Every HOA is different, and it all depends on the laws that they have when they were established. And they can always amend those laws by attending those HOA meetings that we were talking about. You as a member into that HOA do have a voice. That's why I said it's like a miniature government in your neighborhood. Hey, look, let's face it. Some people, they like the inside of their house. They could care less what the outside looks like. I don't care what my grass looks like. I don't care what, the outside color of my house is. As long as nothing's damaged and my roof isn't leaking, I just care about how I look on the inside of the house. If you're one of those people and you really could care less, you want to have 10 different cars in your driveway, and you want to be parking on grass, and you want to have a boat and a jet ski, and you want to be fixing cars in your front yard, yeah, an HOA probably isn't right for you because of the fact that some people don't like that, and it takes away from the marketability of the neighborhood. Some people like it, some people don't. So if that's your case, an HOA probably is not for you. Is an HOA right for you? Well, it probably is. If you like a clean neighborhood, and that's not to say that other neighborhoods aren't clean. Let me make sure I stress that. There are plenty of examples of neighborhoods that are clean throughout. And there are plenty of examples of HOA neighborhoods where you have houses that are just totally messed up. However, you don't have that governing body and that kind of enforcement, to protect you. Again, that's what the HOA's job that's what their job is to keep the property value up. So it's certainly possible in non-HOA neighborhoods. Do your research. I would encourage you to, stroll through that neighborhood both in the day and nighttime so you can see what it looks like, since that is where you are going to be living. If you're interested in selling your house, like I was saying, that's something, designed to protect the value. It's something that, with that example I gave earlier with your neighbor, if they're not doing anything, there's really nothing you can do in an HOA neighborhood, or in a non-HOA neighborhood, excuse me. In an HOA neighborhood, you are able to help enforce those laws, those rules of the neighborhood. If you're wanting a neighborhood that has amenities, a lot of non-HOA neighborhoods do not. So therefore, what's better? Would I rather pay $100 a month and have a pool, a playground, and all these things? Or would I rather not pay that $100 a month? I have to install a pool myself, or I have to drive an hour to the beach, or to a friend's house that has a pool. That's a personal decision, but it probably is good for you in HOA neighborhood if you want those amenities but don't want to buy them yourself or travel for them. You just go right down the road to the neighborhood park. So anyway, that's pretty much everything I have. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope that this was informative for you. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video.